If somebody's talking about your resume and they haven't said anything about your brand, they're skipping a step, and you're going to have a resume that looks like everybody else's. And it might be very good. It might be very good. But as we know, with 96% of workers are going to be in the job hunt in 2023, you need more than a good resume. But today, as I said, we're talking about how to stand out in a crowded job market. And before I get into that, I want to talk about some 2023 predictions for the job market and what kind of helped me, motivated me to do today's live. So the first prediction that I've seen across a ton of different platforms is that 96% of workers will be job hunting in 2023. And that's a huge number, 96%. That means that if you're on a team of 10 people at work, that only one person is not thinking about looking for a job. I mean, that's huge. Like that means entire companies might be turning over. And so if you are in that 96%, go ahead and drop 96 in the comments for me. Because I got some good stuff for you. You're going to want to stick around for this. So if you're in that 96%, go ahead and drop it. Some of the other predictions and things that are going on is that there is clearly going to be economic uncertainty in 2023. And so what that kind of means is that nobody knows what's going on. It kind of seems like the employers are getting the upper hand just a little bit, or at least perceived upper hand, because when there's economic uncertainty, the job seekers, they kind of feel like they've lost their leverage, right? They can't just ask for any and everything because there aren't as many jobs. Companies might not have the budgets that they used to have. And so now the companies, what they actually can do, kind of dictates what they will do for job seekers, with their company, with other people, with people's careers and things like that. So that's a huge thing that's going on. And then the third huge thing that's going on is that a lot of the sexy jobs are getting really, really hard to find. They're going away. Everybody is doing layoffs. All the huge brands, I'm not going to call them out. They're all over LinkedIn, all over the news. But everybody's doing layoffs. And so it seems like people who have niched themselves into, I can only work for Apple and Google and Amazon, those jobs are getting harder and harder to find and secure. And so they're like, what am I to do, right? They're still in the job market, but they don't know what to do. And so those are just a couple of the big splashes that you've had. If you haven't seen them yet, they're coming. But those are some of the big splashes that I've seen that are, going to affect the job market in 2023. So what are we going to do, right? What can we do given the predictions that are out there? The fact that the job market is very crowded, it's getting tighter and tighter. We don't know if companies are actually still motivated to fill these roles. Are they just going to get rid of them? What's going to happen? So what can you do? The only thing you can do, because all of those things that I just mentioned are out of your control. All those are out of your control. The only thing that is in your control, what I'm recommending job seekers do in 2023 is to focus 100% of your efforts on building your professional brand. That's the only thing you can control. It's the only thing you can control, and it's the thing that's going to help you stand out in the crowded job market. It's the thing that attracts recruiters and hiring managers to you. And it is what helps during the interview. It keeps you the memorable candidate, and it helps you rise to the top. So I got a couple of key ways, couple of key things that you should do while you're trying to focus on building your brand in 2023. This is something that we can control while, the rest of the market is doing whatever it wants to do. The people who are building their brands, they're going to have more opportunities. They're going to have more flexibility. They're going to have people knocking at their door with these opportunities, as opposed to the people who kind of just focus on being the same as everybody else, right? What certifications are hot? What degrees, what extra education can I go get? What resume template should I be using? What keywords do I need to have, or what's sexy on the resume, blah, blah, blah. Though focusing on those things, that's going to help you look like the 95% of people who are job seeking, because everybody has the same idea. And I've been a hiring manager and hired, I don't know, hundreds of people. I don't know. I'm going to get more into that later, but being on the other side, I'm really giving you guys the behind the scenes of like, how do people actually get jobs? What helps people stand out? What do those memorable candidates do and have? And they all have a brand. Like, they're not walking in saying I have a brand, but the things that they're saying, the way that they're carrying themselves, the research that they've done before they even speak to me, it shows that they've been caring about their brand. The first thing you can do when you're trying to build your brand in 2023 is to define your expertise. I know people are scared of, niching themselves down and like sticking to, one thing, but you have to define your expertise. And I have an example. So an example, and I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty, guys. Hold on before I get into this. I'm rusty. I used to be able to get through a whole live without drinking anything. It'll get better, right? Week after week after week, I'll get back to my normal chops. But the first thing you can do, my example, how do you define your expertise? So, for example, I am a career coach. My expertise is helping STEM professionals. A lot of people who come to my lives, they subscribe to my YouTube channel, they, follow me on LinkedIn. I've gotten this a lot of times that like the advice that you give, it's relevant, across industries, across professions, and all of that may be true, right? So could I say that I'm a career coach who helps everybody? I could, but that wouldn't motivate the STEM professionals who I want to work with. That wouldn't motivate them to work with me specifically. And it wouldn't give them the confidence that she's aware of exactly what I'm going through. And so my expertise is STEM because that is my background, right? I started as an engineer, and I've matriculated through several industries in STEM. And so it's something that I've actually done. So could I, say that I can be a career coach to nurses or teachers or accountants? I probably could. A lot of the things that I know and have experienced, it's applicable for, corporate across the board. But there's always this little nuance, right? There's a nuance to being in a STEM, being a STEM professional. And having been one myself been in a STEM career for the last 18 years, there are likely some similarities between the way my brain works and the way your brain works. And so there are some things that I understand about people in STEM careers that maybe other coaches don't understand. And there may be, things about people who are in a finance career. There's some nuance to how they do their job. There's some nuance to how you show up at work. There's some nuance to what makes you successful that I haven't had direct experience with. So what does this mean for you? If you're thinking you want to be a project manager or some sort of engineer or, insert whatever it is you want to do, what is your expertise there? You have to drill it down to more than just a title. And that's what I see people doing. So everybody on the live today, here's a quick exercise. I'm a project manager and my expertise is it can be a certain field. It can be in a certain industry. It can be in, insert your expertise. If you cannot name something specific that you have expertise in, then we got to keep working on our brand. That's the very first step. If you don't have expertise, you don't have a brand. And so, I mean, even if you think about big companies, I was actually looking at like, everything is being shipped to our homes and, we're sending things out regularly. I was looking at like shipping services. So like the United States Postal Service, their expertise is just offering the essentials, right? If you need to mail something, they got you. They're not promoting that they're doing anything particularly special. They're like, if you need the essentials, we got you. UPS is saying we've got more planes than anybody else, and so we're gonna get your stuff there fast. We're guaranteeing that like you don't have to rely on ground transportation. And then FedEx is saying that our ground transportation is faster than anyone else's, and we deliver 7 days a week. And so it's like they all have chosen, right? They're all doing the same thing. They're all getting packages from A to B, but they've all chosen a lane of expertise. And so you guys got to start doing that as well. Drop something in the chat and let me know if that makes sense. And if you have any questions about that, it's, a nuancy type of thing to do, but it's absolutely necessary. It has to be done. So the first thing you have to do is define your expertise. The second thing you have to do is define the problem that you solve. And I hosted a workshop on this back in October, the Find Your Pivot Position workshop. And if you want access to the replay, drop replay in the chat, and then I'll send you a message about how to get access to it. But in the workshop, we were talking about how do you define the problem that you solve and why that's important. It's important because you have to understand why people get jobs to begin with. Why are employers creating jobs to begin with? They're creating jobs because they have problems. And so when job seekers or, people who just want to pivot in their career and want to do something different, when you haven't given any thought to the problem that the job is created to solve, the problem that you like to solve, the problems that you have solved in the past, when you haven't given any thought to that, you're also not going to stand out in the crowded job market. Because what stands out when you're doing interviews and things like that is people who come in and it seems like they really understand the landscape. And I'll give you an example. My last role was engineering manager, and on the surface, right, when people ask, what do you do? It's like, oh, I'm an engineering manager. I'm a people manager. I manage a team, right? But see how that's very flat? It's talking about features, right? The features are I manage a team. I do performance reviews. I hire people. Those are features. But what you really want to be talking about is what are your benefits? And your benefits always align to solving a problem. The problem that engineering managers are supposed to be solving is that how do you, we have a group of 10 people. The problem is that I need them all to move in the same direction. I need them all to be productive and to be working on company initiatives. I need them to work collaboratively so that we can move faster. And so when you take a step back and do this for your own role and the role that you're thinking about, when you take a step back and you really think about it, it's like, what's the actual problem here? And I venture to say, if you don't know what the problem is, you're not ready to interview for that role. If you don't know what the problem is, you're not ready to interview for that role. Because if you don't know what the problem is, then you can't come to the interview talking about solutions. That's how you stand out. You already have the solution to the problem, and the person on the other side of the table is like, I haven't even said that and they get it. So that's my second thing. It's like, you got to understand the problem that is in front of you, that the people who want to hire and the people who have these job openings, you got to understand their problems. But you also have to be able to articulate it, in a way that's unique to you, right? So what is the problem that you solve? And I used to say that the problem I solve was I bring order to chaos. Very clear. That's what I do. Bringing order to chaos assist in all those other things that I named that the company was having problems with. They're having problems with, getting people to move in the same direction, getting people aligned to work collaboratively to accomplish company initiatives. This is all chaos. This is chaos. And I personally know how to sift through chaos, find order, put a plan in place, and get people marching in that direction. And so this is the second skill that you should be working on in 2023 is defining the problem that you solve and understanding how to align that to the problems that the companies and the places you want to work for that they're having. But the third thing that you should be doing while you're focusing on your brand in 2023 is building a story on why you do it better than anyone else. And it's not bragging. It's not, being boastful. It's not being disrespectful. It's not any of those things. But you have to have a reason why you're doing this better than anybody else. And it's hard to do. So spend some time on it. Start right now. It's January, right? It's January 18th. Go ahead and get started working on it. I know a lot of people grow up in households and situations where you don't really talk about yourself and, it doesn't seem like something you can do. But I want everybody to get accustomed and get comfortable with the idea that me talking about my expertise and why I do it better than other people, that doesn't have that's not me looking down on other people. That's not me saying something is wrong with them. But I can boost myself up in the same regard, right? I can boost myself up and talk about why I do it better than other people, and also not be being disrespectful to other people. Because guess what? The person who explains why they do it better than anyone else, the person who does that the best, they stand out in the crowded job market. They get the jobs. They get the opportunities. They get the promotions. So we have to work on that. And another example for me, I'm a career coach. How many career coaches are there on LinkedIn? I don't even know. I probably have hundreds in my connections alone. And so what makes me better than anyone else? Well, I started off as an engineer. So I spent 10 plus years in the STEM field. So I understand what it's like to be new in the field, to want to pivot numerous times, to not be, to feel unfulfilled, to feel as if you want to make more money in your career. I've been in every one of those positions and I've navigated it. So I've been there and have navigated that. I was promoted into a engineering manager position. I did that for 6 or 7 years. And so what that helped me see is what's really going on behind the curtain, right? As an individual contributor, a lot of times you don't really understand what how things are going from the company perspective, why certain decisions are being made, how certain people are navigating their careers and getting the opportunities that people want. And so that experience gave me a behind the scenes look into what's actually going on so that I can help my clients navigate these situations from the perspective of the decision maker, right? If you're an individual contributor, that's the only perspective you have. But I'm able to help people who work with me have another perspective, things that they have not been exposed to. I've worked in 7 different industries, and I had to write them down. I actually thought about this morning. I'm like, what are the industries I worked in? Auto, aerospace, food, pharma, finance, big tech, consulting. I've done it all. So when a STEM professional comes to me, and they have experience or want experience in a myriad of industries, different companies. I've done it all. I've seen it all. So, I mean, I say all that to say that, when you're thinking about why I do it better than anyone else, you're thinking about, what about my background? What about my past experience? What things have I seen and what do I understand very well that may not be common to other people? And I think that's a better way of putting it, is that what do I have? What can I do? What can I explain? What can I execute that is not common to the other 96% of workers who are going to be looking for jobs this year? That's a better way of saying it than what can I do better than anybody else, because I think that might intimidate people. But it's like, what do I do that's not common? It's not common for an African-American female to have worked in 7 different industries within the STEM field, to have been promoted within 6 months of starting a new job into her first leadership role, to have worked for all these different companies, to have 5x her salary. I mean, these things are not common. And so let's drop something in the chat when, it's like, it's okay. Let's big ourselves up. We're going to big ourselves up in 2023 about the things that we have and the things that we possess that are not common. We're going to big ourselves up, because that is what is going to help you stand out. If you'd like my help to help you, establish and get laser very clear on those 3 things for you and your personal brand, there are 2 slots available for one-on-one coaching with me this month. And just quick story, your girl was burnt out in 2022, okay? And that is why I haven't been live in 3 months, because I took November and December off to get my whole entire life together and put some processes in place so that I wouldn't burn out this year. But what a result from that is that I'm only taking 5 one-on-one clients at a time now. And the way it works is and when somebody graduates, then a spot opens up. If all 5 of my clients want to work with me all year long, then so be it. But I'm taking 5 one-on-one clients at a time. There are 2 slots. You can go ahead and drop "I need this" in the chat if you want to hop on a call with me to talk about how everything works and to talk about getting one of those slots. Because what I talked about today about focusing on building your brand and just those 3 things, we usually knock that out in one session. That's usually the very first thing that we attack, and then we take it on from there. But your entire ability to pivot into a new career or elevate your career, it hinges on this professional brand thing. This is it. If somebody's talking about your resume and they haven't said anything about your brand, they're skipping a step, and you're going to have a resume that looks like everybody else's. And it might be very good. It might be very good. But as we know, with 96% of workers are going to be in the job hunt in 2023, you need more than a good resume. If you're new here, if you haven't seen me live in the last 3 months, if you're new to my content, my name is Gerrie Dozier. I help STEM professionals cure career stagnation by pivoting into new roles and elevating their careers without new certifications, without extra degrees, and without applying for endless jobs online. So nice to meet you guys. And until next week, thanks guys. Bye.